Hi, Owen from Playin Easy here, and in this video, we're going to be looking at GICs. For 10 plus years, GICs were sort of forgotten about. With interest rates at historic lows, GICs were just less attractive as an investment option. But now, with interest rates higher, all of a sudden GICs have become more attractive. Now I should preface this video by saying that my wife and I, we have 5% of our portfolio in GICs. We've been doing that for a very long time. We like the idea of GICs. They're guaranteed, the principal's guaranteed, the rate of return is guaranteed, and we have about 5% of our portfolio in GICs. That makes up part of our fixed income allocation. Now there are some pros and cons with GICs, so let's take a look at some of the benefits or the pros of having GICs as part of your investment portfolio. So one of the benefits of GICs is, of course, there's a guaranteed rate of return. The other benefit with GICs is that the principal is also guaranteed at the end of the term. So the principal doesn't fluctuate up and down like it would with equities or even bond investments. The value of the GIC doesn't fluctuate with interest rates. So unlike bond funds, which can go up and down with changes in interest rates, the value of the GIC doesn't change. With GICs, there typically aren't any investment fees. And of course with GICs, they can be CDIC insured up to $100,000 per financial institution. So a GIC, when it's CDIC insured, is backed by the Canadian government up to $100,000 per financial institution. Now an important caveat there, that does include investment growth. So that it does include the interest on the GIC. Now GICs can actually sometimes provide better returns than an equivalent bond portfolio. So if we look at historical results, investing in a 5-year GIC ladder can sometimes give a better return than investing in an equivalent bond portfolio. GICs add a bit of diversification to a portfolio, and they can provide a lot of peace of mind. So having a small portion of the portfolio in GICs, if you're a little bit risk averse, can provide quite a bit of peace of mind. Now there are some cons with GICs. So GICs are great, but there are some downsides. One of the downsides, of course, is that GICs are not very liquid. So they're typically locked in for a specific term. Often that can be 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 5 years. You can even get longer GICs as well. It's also harder to rebalance a portfolio using GICs. So naturally, fixed income, equities, they're going to fluctuate in value over time. When you have too much of your portfolio tied up in GICs, it can be very difficult to rebalance. So this is one of the reasons why, even if you're using GICs as part of your portfolio, we still want to have some bonds within the portfolio to help rebalance periodically. GICs can make a portfolio too conservative, especially if they're simply layered on top of an existing portfolio. So if you have a 60-40 asset allocation, if you have 60% of your portfolio in equities and 40% in fixed income, if you add GICs on top of that portfolio, you might be making that portfolio too conservative. The value, of course, doesn't go up or down when interest rates change, which is a benefit, but it's also a downside. So one of the benefits of a bond fund is that when interest rates go down, sometimes the value of that bond fund can actually go up. So this can act as a bit of a hedge against equities. And then the last one, of course, it's that it's harder with GICs to shop around for higher rates. So one of the difficulties with GICs is that if they're with a specific financial institution, it can be harder, especially if they're in an RSP or TFSA, to shop around for a higher rate at the end of the term. Now, one important thing to highlight with GICs is that you don't actually have to purchase them directly from a financial institution. So RSPs, TFSAs, non-registered accounts, if you have a brokerage account, you can purchase GICs through your brokerage account from specific financial institutions. Usually a brokerage account, they'll have a rate bulletin that's published every day with the latest GIC rates. Typically, there's a bit of a reduction in the interest rate, usually 15 to 20, maybe 25 basis points, but that can make it much easier to purchase GICs if it's done through your broker, and then you can always shop around for higher rates in the future when those GICs mature. Now GICs, they can make a great addition to your investment portfolio, but just remember the pros and cons. Remember that they need to be included as part of your fixed income allocation. We don't want to make a portfolio too conservative. And remember that they are locked in for a period of time. So they're not quite as liquid, they're not quite as flexible as equities or bond investments. So if you remember those things, GICs can be a great addition to the portfolio, and with interest rates higher, now might be the right time to think about GICs as part of your overall investment portfolio. Thanks for watching.